Good morning, third grade. So today I'm taking math outside and I've turned my driveway into our classroom. So let's see if this works. You're going to hear people playing, you're going to hear airplanes, you're going to hear our dog bark, but hopefully we can get through what we want to get through. All right, today we're going to work on what we call plane shapes. Not like a plane, like not fancy, not like it is spelled like airplane, but plane meaning that it is built on a flat surface, okay? And what is more flat than my driveway? So that's why we're working on my driveway. It's a shape that's built on a flat surface or drawn on a flat surface, so it only has two dimensions. It only has a length and a width. It won't have a height, okay? So going back to our area and perimeter of last week, it's the Legos that we built on the flat surface. We didn't build them up, right? Okay? So we're working on plane shapes. And so there's lots of vocabulary words that we want to go over before we get started. The first is a line. Look at that. Doesn't that look just like the number line that I would draw on our whiteboard? Okay? So the first thing we have is a line. And remember, I always drew arrows on each end of the line because numbers go on forever. Okay? I could plot one point on a line. So let's say this was 0, then I could do another point here. That would be 1, 2, but that's just a point on a line, okay? If we have a line that has two endpoints, these are called endpoints because they're at the ends, so no arrows. If they have two endpoints, we call that a line segment. Line segment, okay? Now, what's cool about this, and we're going to get started on this later, is that you can name line segments. So often they'll have letters of the alphabet. So for example, this would be called line segment AB, and we just name it from the 2 points that it has, AB, and we put a little line over it. If it has endpoints, it's called a line segment, okay? If it only has one endpoint, we call it a ray. Here's my ray. We call it a ray. It has one end and it goes out. That reminds me of like a ray of sunshine. It comes out of the sun. It only comes out one direction, right? So that's why I always think of a ray of sun. It has one endpoint and it goes forever in one direction or another, okay? So we can use line segments to draw two-dimensional shapes, okay? So if I take a look, there are two types of plane shapes, two types of two-dimensional shapes. And here's one type. Can you take a look at this? Okay, what do you notice about those? Okay, that's one type. And then if I move over my driveway, here's another type. What do you notice? If you notice, all of these are closed. They're all closed shapes, okay? Where all of these are open shapes, okay? So a shape can have a line, it can have a curve, a plane shape, as long as it is closed. We call it a closed shape. And if it has any segment that's not closed off, we call it open, okay? So those are the types of plane shapes, open and closed, okay? So today we're also going to take a look at taking lines and how to make a shape. Now we've talked about this in class before. Can I make a shape here? Let's come over here with my sticks. Can I make a shape out of two sides? Elizabeth, you're going to have to get your straws ready. Can I make a shape with two lines? Now these are from my hydrangea that I just picked. Can I make a shape? Is there any way to make a shape out of two sticks? No, I can't make a shape, but I can make an angle. You're absolutely right, an angle. We talked a lot about angles when we worked on inclined planes in science, if you remember, okay? There are three types of angles, and Jack and Elizabeth are going to help me. Okay, so these are sticks from my hydrangeas. Not perfect to show angles because they're not exactly straight. Jack's going to use his lacrosse sticks, and Elizabeth is going to use a straw. So all we did was cut a straw, which are hard to find. We don't really have very many straws. And I put a twist tie in the middle. A pipe cleaner works perfectly, but then she can make different shapes. Now the thing about the straw and the lacrosse sticks is that they are perfectly straight. You could grab sticks from your garden like I did, and we're gonna make some angles. Okay. The first type of angle we want to talk about is called a right angle. So could you make yours into a right angle? Okay, now look at Elizabeth. She made a right angle. And if we could tell, there's a little square right here. Oh, sorry, a little square. I can't move it, hold on. A little square. We could draw a square corner. Jack's setting up his. Do we see that square right there? Jack, point to where we could draw a square for me. Do you see how we could draw a square right there where the two lines meet? Okay, so that would be called a right, thank you, Elizabeth, that would be called a right angle, okay? And we talked a little bit about this in class, if you recall. All right, now, the other two types are whether the angle is smaller than a right angle or larger than a right angle, okay? So let's start with one that's smaller than a right angle. Can you make yours smaller? Elizabeth, could you put it down on the ground so it's easier? Okay, if it's smaller than a right angle, perfect, Jack. All right, we call that an acute angle. Perfect, acute angle. Remember me saying, oh, it's a cute little angle. Remember me saying that? Okay, so if it's smaller than a right angle, it's called an acute angle. If it's larger than a right angle, okay, watch them make their angles into larger than a right angle. Nice. Okay, if it's a larger than that square, larger than a right angle, it's called an obtuse angle. Obtuse. It kind of reminds me of the word tuba, obtuse. A tuba makes a big, loud sound. That's how I remember. A cute little angle and an obtuse angle. So Jack made his lacrosse sticks. It's bigger than a 90-degree angle. Elizabeth made her straws into bigger than a right angle. Okay, the one other angle that we don't often think of it as an angle, but it is, would be called a straight angle. Straight angle, good job, Elizabeth, which would be 180 degrees, all the way straight, a straight angle, when two lines make a straight angle. Thanks, guys, for your help. All right, so what I want you to do is to look around outside and see if you see angles, okay? Look right here. Here's the crack of my driveway. What do you notice? There are 4 right angles. Jack, could you grab a piece of chalk and draw some angles for me? There are 4 right angles right here in my driveway. Hold on, he's coming. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at those angles right there. So these lines, if I just focus in on this one, this makes a right angle. Okay, let's go for a little walk and see if I can find some other angles. Ooh, let's come over here. Sorry. This isn't my driveway. This is going into the path. What do you notice about this angle right here? Do you think it's bigger, obtuse? Do you think it's right, perfect square, or smaller, acute? You're right, it's an acute little angle. If I look up on my house, I have bricks. What kind of angles are those? Right angles. Oh, don't look into our messy garage. Okay, let's see. I also noticed that down here in the driveway, if I keep going down my driveway, oh wait, hold on. Look at our basketball goal. What do you see? Right angles. Look at all those squares, right angles. Okay, but if I keep coming down here, I noticed this as I was walking, that I have some lines. Oh, sorry, over here. I'm gonna make you all dizzy. Lines over here. Look at this line. Okay, you ready? Look at this triangle. What kind of angle do you think that is? That would be an acute angle. What about this one? Acute. What about that one? Acute. But if I look on this side, look at this side, this angle. What do you think about that one? That one would be obtuse. Obtuse. So, I use my driveway today for math. You can use your driveway if it's sunny and beautiful out when you're watching this. You could use your kitchen. You could use anything. But what I want you to make sure that you understand is that all around you, you're going to see shapes and angles. Okay? Shapes are made from lines, either straight lines or curved lines. Here's a little review. We've got a line. We've got a line segment that has ends. We have a ray that has one end. We have closed shapes that are completely closed up, and we have open shapes. Those are the two types of plane shapes. And then if we take those line segments, or rays really, and we make angles, we can have a right angle. Smaller than a right angle is an acute angle. Bigger than a right angle is an obtuse angle. All right, so you're going to complete a few pages. I'm combining two lessons again, so we're kind of buzzing through because we've talked about a lot of these things before. So make sure that you follow and only do the numbers and pages that I ask you to do. You can do all of it if you'd like to, but you only have to do certain ones, so pay real close attention. All right, everybody, have a great day. We miss you.